equipment. I'd stand down below, but I'm afraid if Timmy sat up tall, then you wouldn't be able to see me. So I'm going to get a little bit of elevation here. I just love conversations about a product like Coca-Cola. Think about what it would be like to drink syrup. Just syrup. It'd be less than even syrup if you took all the water out of it. So good segue into the presentation about nexus between water and energy. A few moments for a commercial, and I just need to talk to you for a couple minutes about American Water and Pennsylvania American Water. American Water is the largest publicly traded water and wastewater service provider in the United States, where we have a broad geographic footprint, but we're local, very local, and I'll talk about that in a couple minutes. We're in 30 states and Canada. We provide water service to about 15 million people in the U.S. and in Canada. We're proud to say that we treat and deliver about 1 billion gallons of water every single day, 1 billion gallons. That map just gives you a little idea of where we are. Pennsylvania American Water, the company that I lead, is the largest, and I'm a little bit biased because it's the company that I'm primarily responsible for. I think it's the best subsidiary of American Water. We are in 36 of the Commonwealth, 67 counties. We provide service to about 2.2 million people in 390 communities. So when you think local, think 390 communities. And if you live and work in Pennsylvania, you know most of those communities are small communities, but thriving. And we like to think that we're a large part of the economy in all of those communities throughout Pennsylvania. Our customer base is primarily residential, about 92%. 7% is commercial. We provide service to about 1% industrial customers. But that 1% is deceiving because it's a very important customer base in terms of the economy of Pennsylvania. We provide water service to U.S. Steel, provide water service to the company that makes Gatorade. I'm sure somewhere we provide service to a Coca-Cola facility. We also provide service right here in Hershey. So if you have a Hershey Kiss, chances are good that our water went into producing that Hershey Kiss. If you go to the park here in Hershey, take a drink of water from the fountain, it's our water. Hopefully you won't be at the medical center, but if you have to go over there, that medical center has our water as well. Many of you should visit the Trogs Brewery, which is right down the street here. It's one of our newer customers. Our water goes into that beer as well. We do have 4 areas where we have wastewater facilities as well. And I'm not sure if I have a pointer on here, but in the Northwest, we have a large wastewater facility in Clarion County. In the Southwest, outside of Pittsburgh and Claysville, we have a wastewater facility in Coatesville. In the Southeast, we have 3 wastewater treatment plants up in the Northeast. So of our 655,000 customers, about 17,000 customers are wastewater. I could talk to you all day about infrastructure. We could chat about pipes and treatment plants, tanks, pump stations, but that's not the assignment Rosemary's given me. She wants me to talk about the nexus between water and wastewater. So on this slide, I'd just like to point out 2 facts that I'd like you to focus on. One, on the bottom left, you can see the number of treatment plants that we have. We have 36 surface water treatment plants in the Commonwealth, and we belong to the Environmental Protection Agency's Partnership for Safe Water. When you sign up for that partnership, you agree to treat water to standards that are higher than the EPA requires. So we belong, in total as a company, American Water. 31 of our treatment plants in the Commonwealth have received Directors Awards, and those Directors Awards could be 5-year or 10-year, and what it means is that for 5 or 10 consecutive years, we've treated water to standards that are higher than are required by the regulations. That's very, very easy to say, but one of our facilities that belongs to the partnership and has a director's award is right here in Hershey, not too far from here. Last September, we had significant flooding. Segments of this community, actually the whole community, was inaccessible, but segments were destroyed. When you have turbid water, when you have flooding, when you have a flood level of 7 feet and the Swatara Creek reaches 27, and you're still able to maintain partnership quality of water. We never lost water. We never had a boil order during that event. The partnership awards go to the treatment plant, but it's really the quality of our employees, the quality of our production, our operators, who are dedicated to maintaining that higher level of water quality. Also on this slide, if you focus on the right, there's a point that's made about our distribution system. We have more than 10,000 miles of pipe. Now, I realize when Lowell was speaking, that's our packaging. It's all there underground. Various sizes, might be a cast iron, might be PVC, but our packaging is in pipes. But you never see our packaging. 10,000 miles of pipe is really easy to state, but if you think about a trip from New York to LA, drive back from LA to New York, and then drive from New York to LA again, if you laid our pipes end to end, they wouldn't fit in that distance. We operate and maintain more than 10,000 miles of pipe every year. Our packaging is one way of thinking of it. When I go out into our communities and talk to members of the community about what they think about when they think about water, they usually mention an elevated tank, or sometimes they'll talk about fire hydrants. No one ever talks about pipe, ever. And primarily, it's because 60% of our assets are hidden. Water utilities are the most capital intensive of any industry. Utilities in general are more capital intensive than any, and I should say that subset, water, is the most capital intensive utility. When I talk capital intensity, I'm referring to the dollars of capital that you need to produce $1 of revenue. Most people would guess that, like the steel industry, is the most capital intensive, and that's because you can see those assets. So think about our packaging, think about it underground. If there's nothing else that I have you remember at the end of this, when you turn on your tap, if you think about what happens miles and miles away from your tap, it doesn't happen in the vanity, as I used to say to my kids. Think about a tank somewhere that's providing that pressure for you. Think about the operators that are at a treatment plant somewhere. Also, when you flush, it's not just happening right there at that toilet. It's somebody in a treatment plant, and it's miles and miles of collection piping that does it. The condition of water and wastewater infrastructure has been addressed several times. Just a couple points. The American Society of Civil Engineers has graded the infrastructure for water and wastewater in Pennsylvania, not Pennsylvania American, but overall to be a D+. Not a grade that you typically, send to grandparents. D+ is not something to write home about. Also, the Governor's Sustainable Water Infrastructure Task Force, on which I was honored to serve a couple years ago, we analyzed the situation for water and wastewater and determined that it will take $36.5 billion over the next 20 years in capital for water and wastewater systems to replace their aging systems as they reach the end of their useful life and also comply with the ever-increasing environmental regulations. There's an additional $77.1 billion that will be needed to address operations and maintenance expense and debt service. So think about $36.5 billion to address issues related to water and wastewater infrastructure. And we'll circle back to that when we get to toward the end of my presentation. The nexus between water and wastewater and energy. I like to say, if you don't have energy, you don't have water. If you don't have water, you don't have energy. When I speak to communities, many times, you might have a power outage. One situation, we had an issue where we had a power outage and we had a tank out of service for painting, and so we had a water outage. And when I met with the public, many people said to me, we didn't even know that electricity was needed to provide water service. But clearly, if you don't have power, you're not going to have water service. Those pipes are pressurized. Water doesn't come from gravity, from the treatment plant down into homes. About 4% of electricity generated in the United States is needed to provide water and wastewater service, to collect the wastewater, to treat water and wastewater, and then move it. Water is heavy, 8 pounds per gallon. I like the Lutron audience participation. I should have brought a bucket of water with me. 8 pounds per gallon. As I used to say to my kids when my children were in high school and they'd come home from attending a seminar and they'd say to me, I don't know why you charge for water. It's free. It comes right out of the sky. And you know, sometimes you think, where did I get these kids? You know, their entire life they've spent in a house involving water and wastewater service, and they say, how could you dare to charge for water? So I used to say to my son, the one that used to stay in the shower till the tank ran dry, we'll give you all the water you want. We're not charging you for the water. You can take a bucket, you could go right down to the stream. We'll give the water to you for free. We only charge you for bringing it to the house, and the amount you use, by the time you went back and forth to the stream, you probably wouldn't be able to go out tonight. But then think about it. We treat it for you, and we also deliver it to the tap. Think about that shower. Think about if you had to get a shower with a bucket of water, as they had to do in the old days. Dumping that water over your head doesn't distribute it very evenly, but I won't go off on that. But anyway, you need energy to get water to the home, and that's what we charge you for. 50 billion kilowatt hours used per year. If you look at an income statement for a water company, the top line will be labor, the next line will be energy. So it behooves us not only to conserve the resource, but also to reduce our operations and maintenance expenses, because we need that cash flow to focus on infrastructure. How about water and energy? We don't think as often about how much water is needed to provide various forms of energy. But electricity production, second only to agriculture. Still, agriculture in the United States uses the most water. The next user is electricity. Fully 39% of the water withdrawn from all sources is used to provide energy. The primary user is coal-fired plants, 45%, gas at 24%, and nuclear at only 20%. But without water, you would not have any type of energy at all. The electric or energy industry uses about 190,000 million gallons per water each day. Lots and lots of water used in the production of energy. At American Water, we focus on several areas to reduce our energy use. We focus on pumps, lighting. Lowell talked a little bit about that, and I'll address that as well. We focus on our operations.